Good morning, guys. It is Monday, January 29th, 2024. This is Bathrobe Business. I'm Georgi Oganov. I got my coffee and I got the news. So, not a lot going on in the market. It's a fairly quiet day. Everyone is anticipating the Federal Reserve meeting tomorrow. It starts tomorrow. It's a two-day meeting, and it is well believed that rates are going to be unchanged. We'll see what the Fed does say, though, because what they say is going to echo and signal what they're going to do in the coming months. Are we going to see a rate cut or not? I still think we're not, even though I reported on news the other day that inflation is slowing drastically. We lost about half a point of inflation in the last month or so, but I still say that I don't think we're seeing it in the second quarter, potentially the third quarter. Next story is very minor as well. Amazon is purchasing iRobot, and they're laying off 30% of their staff. Not a major story, like I said. It's a pretty quiet day overall. The only reason I mention it is because it is a massive layoff. And so I try to keep track of the layoffs because I think that does affect the economy greatly. And so they will be laying off about 31% of their workforce in that restructuring. The other major story of the day is what's going on with China. I know I report on China a lot, even though this is a US-based channel, and I don't like doing that, but here we are. Evergrande, the company that essentially caused China's financial and economic crisis in the last 2 years, they're the largest developer, I believe, in the world, and they hold about $300 billion in total liabilities. Well, they've been forced to liquidate by a Hong Kong court. So for 2 years, they've been trying to restructure their debt, restructure their assets, try to save themselves in some way, but it looks like the clock has run out. So they are going to be ordered to liquidate. I honestly don't know how that's going to function in a country like China. That is well above my head and above my understanding of their economy, but it is a major blow. I do think that this is probably the beginning of the end for China's housing crisis, but that beginning could take a while to still play out. You've got $300 billion in liabilities here that the country and the government needs to deal with. How they're going to deal with that is a real question. With China being an autocratic state, they do have control of those assets. They could just go in and acquire them and essentially absorb the debt. But what that is going to play into in the greater economy of China, I don't know. Last story, not a lot going on, is just Jamie Dimon warning of the U.S. debt. So this is a big warning, and I think it's one that isn't being paid attention to a lot of the market. I have been thinking about this. I haven't mentioned it on the channel, but just how outlandishly high the debt is getting. So Jamie Dimon is just sounding off that the federal debt is higher than it's ever been historically, of course, but just the nature of the crisis that could be coming is pretty stark. So he said that in 1982, with inflation around 12%, the prime lending rate was 21.5%, and unemployment was somewhere around 10%. The debt was only 35% of gross domestic product. Today, the debt-to-GDP ratio is 100%. That's pretty terrifying, especially with interest rates being where they are. One of the primary drivers of why interest rates work is they slow the economy, but they should also make the government more efficient as well. Nobody talks about the fact that the government needs to cut their budgets when inflation rates rise and the government is not. Every time a debt ceiling vote comes up, it just gets passed. Bigger and bigger budgets are being passed every single year. Let's not forget that we were in a 20-year war between Afghanistan and Iraq, the whole war on terror. We were in that war for 20 plus years, and the military budget went up after the war ended. That does not make any sense. That does not make any goddamn sense at all. And this is a major crisis that could be coming. Jamie Dimon says that we have about 10 years, but I think that's just an arbitrary outlook. I think that's 10 years if everything continues the same way it's been going, with no real major blows to the economy, no major drops in GDP. I know we reported the other day that GDP was very good for the year of 2023, but still, we need to get this debt crisis under control because it is outlandish. And you're talking about 5.5% interest rates and potentially more in the coming years, because I don't think that the Federal Reserve is done raising interest rates. I think we're going to be in an economy of high interest rates for the next foreseeable 10 years, simply because of the demographic issues we've discussed on this channel. That's pretty much it. Like I said, very short, sweet video. I'll see you guys back here tomorrow. The Fed will be meeting, but there won't be any news to report on that, but we'll see what other stuff we can report. I hope you guys have a productive day. I'll see you in the morning.